I don't know if I can stand this. I feel like Jake Paul or Tyson, whichever one gets paid more.
I was about to make him cry and you ruined it. People don't understand this fucking podcast.
Back in my day, we used to flush our toilets with golf clubs.
Oh, I'll do stand-up in front of the puppets in my room. That's fine. I wasn't at all worried about the tattoo here, but having a conversation, oh my God.
What's going on, everybody? Oh, yeah. Thank you for being here. Thank you for waiting for us to get this set up. This is Mike and the Machine. We do tattoos and we talk. Hey, how you doing? We appreciate you guys being here so much. We appreciate your patience while we get set up. This is being filmed for HBO. If Greensboro has an HBO, this will be on it. This is my friend, producer Seth.
Did it look like I knew what I was doing? Gotcha. All right.
This is my friend Boodro. Boodro's the best tattoo artist, fantastic comedian. And this is our guest on Mike and the Machine, AJ Schraeder. AJ is, I think, as far as this club goes and as far as this club's existence goes, I think is one of the funniest people to walk through the doors. Look at his face. I love that. We're going to make him do that all night long as we heap praise upon him while we sting him with a needle.
That's going to be more painful than the needle. That's going to hurt worse.
That's going to hurt worse. All right, this is Mike and the Machine. So if you hear the tattoo gun, that means you're getting tattooed. If you need a break, let us know.
Yeah, I think I'll know when I'm getting tattooed.
Yes, so. Okay. Fair enough, Smarty Pants. Let's find out. Because it is being filmed, if you have the urge to say something out loud, go fuck yourself. Don't do that. Don't do that. We might ask some questions from the audience towards the end. Other than that, Boodro, whenever you're ready, let's go.
Woo.
AJ, so
Yes.
when we do this show, I never ask. Oop, we're off to a good start.
Okay.
Whenever we do this show, I never ask about the tattoo. I don't know what it is, even though it's on a big screen behind my head. What is the tattoo? Why did you get it? And tell me about it.
So it's the MC Escher hands kind of drawing themselves, famous artwork, and then in the middle is kind of a personal life motto of make good stuff, right? And the reason I got it is I've always really, liked the work of MC Escher, but the bigger thing is the make good stuff. I feel like I veer towards the pretentious a lot in my life, so trying to boil it back and be like, oh yeah, it's stuff that I want to do well, and I've always liked the idea of hands kind of making themselves, right? That we as ourselves are part of the stuff we make and try to do good. It's also my dad would have been his birthday, and he always had a motto above his kind of desk of just do right and do good. And so the make good stuff is kind of like my kind of shift on that.
Okay. So
That doesn't put a lot of pressure on Boodro, really, in the middle of it.
if your make good stuff tattoo comes out shitty, I think that's the funniest thing that can happen.
We can always change good to okay.
Right. And we can always keep adding to it.
And we can just cross out good.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Make stuff.
So when you said you lean towards the pretentious, how do you mean?
I do art, MFA, blah, blah, blah. I'll get caught up in my own thoughts and want things to mean more than they do sometimes.
Is that so when you're trying to have fun creating?
Let's get
Yeah,
fun. Hey.
Well, this is the conversation I specifically wanted to have with you because I think we both have the same problem, which is neither of us knows how to have fun.
Right. This is it. This is if we can make it a project, okay, AJ can be involved.
Do you So you're a sketch comedian, stand-up, all kinds
Well,
of.
yeah, mainly sketch. I'm dipping my toes into the stand-up world.
You always
but-
subtract your name from the stand-up stuff. Well, how come? Because I love watching you do it.
Sketch is just what I've always been more drawn to. Like, I
Right.
still don't feel like people that are great at it. I do love watching them do stand-up.
Okay.
And there are moments when I do sketch that I enjoy watching myself do sketch. That hasn't happened in stand-up yet. When I look at the tapes, right? like, oh, that guy's got some work to do, right? So yeah, even in stand-up now, I'm trying to like lean more into my awkwardness, right? Because the note I got early on was like, oh yeah, you got to be more conversational in stand-up, and I'm like, that is not who I am. I don't want to look people in the eyes. I prefer, I'll do stand-up in front of the puppets in my room. That's fine. But talking to human beings, not my favorite. Like, I wasn't at all worried about the tattoo here, but having a
Right.
conversation, oh my God.
My favorite part of all of that, which just got glossed over, was the phrase "puppets in my room."
They're not like in a box. They're just out.
Yeah, I have
Well,
a
there's
lot
plenty
of your
of
puppets, and I appreciate the shared custody of those puppets.
You've earned them.
You're the only person I could text. I have a puppet emergency, and then 24 hours later, I have a box full of puppets.
Well, I'm going to say you need better friends than
I would never bring you a puppet, Eric.
That's true. That's true. At what age do you remember being funny? Like, when did your sense of humor come in? That's not. Could I make that an insult? Absolutely. When was the last time you thought you were funny? Like last week or so?
judge it. No, I mean my whole family, I think we used laughter and jokes growing up my whole life, but I didn't.
So you were sad.
Yeah. But no, I don't think I thought of myself as funny, right? And
Right.
I still don't, for the most part. I know a lot of funny people.
Yeah.
I'm good at structuring things and recognizing patterns, so that helps with comedy. I make it super fun the whole time I'm thinking about it. No, I guess I got forced into performing in high school.
What do you mean?
I
Because I got forced to do stuff in high school.
Yeah, different. Yeah. Sorry.
Way to lighten the mood.
So I guess I should take back the word forced.
Voluntold. We call it voluntold.
A good life note. People have different experiences. But I signed up for theater primarily to work on sets.
Okay.
And in
Sets.
These theater chicks are
yeah,
hot.
Sets. S-E-T-S.
yes.
Sets.
Set design.
Yeah.
I wanted to paint boxes and make things that weren't bricks look like bricks. But they, didn't have enough guys, and they put me into the performance, and then people laughed at me. So, success.
I mean, do you feel like when you get taken off sets and then put into the acting or the performing part of it, do you ever feel like those people who put you in those situations see something in you that you didn't see, or do you think it was a mistake?
Oh, in terms of my life success mistake, right? I've done this for a long time now. But I think they did. I had a student teacher I know that introduced improv to me,
Okay.
and that was a giant thing. And he took me aside after the first show, and he was like, AJ, I know you don't want to be a leader up there, but you're a leader up there, so keep doing it. And I'm like, God damn it. I hate when I'm good at something.
Do you feel the same way? Is that why you feel the way you feel about stand-up? Because you are good at it, and you are better than most people in this room. Yeah. But you are good at it. Is it? Do you hate what? So
I
you
don't
said-
hate it. I don't hate it.
Right.
I used to. I guess when I was first starting it again this time, I was like, but I think the bigger thing is that it's adjacent to something that I've worked really, really hard on.
Which is the sketch. in the
Yeah,
improv?
and then I also feel like a fraud whenever anybody is like, "Oh, good set," or I was like, and this is a little pretentious too, because like, no, I know what a good set feels like.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But it is, I mean, anybody in here suffer from feeling like a fraud on occasion? Just
I'm
a few
so
of
good
us.
at everything I do, dude. Like, look at that.
Ask Seth how I was earlier.
Well, I believe in you, Boodro.
I've been driving Seth crazy for like 2 weeks.
You kind of gotta believe in Boodro at this
Yep,
point,
that's,
AJ. How's it feel? So this is your first tattoo, yes?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, that's it's fucking ballsy.
Cherry
of you.
popped.
Right. He told me the start was going to be the worst, so I'm looking forward to the rest of it, I guess.
First tattoo for AJ. First tattoo for Boodro. Give it up.
What a great long con that you invited me to other shows that I've seen, right?
I read a book once.
So you and your family, you're making jokes to kind of get through things. You get through high school, you get kicked off of set design and forced to be funny. How long have you been performing? Since high school? How many years is that?
Oh, man, I'm old now.
You're like 60.
Yeah,
You look great.
So I guess that would have been like 1999?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Jesus Christ. Your career can drink now. Shush, sir. Shush, please. I was about to make him cry and you ruined it. Fucking people don't understand this fucking podcast. Gonna make this fucking guy cry, and every time you say something, it slows it down. So after all that time, do you, when it comes to the word and the term art, how do you feel?
I don't always love the term art. That's part of why I like stuff. Because everything is art and everything is stuff, right?
Yeah.
One of my favorite kind of quotes, and I'm butchering it and paraphrasing it, is from Renoir, kind of the famous impressionist, who said he's no more of an artist than someone who can make a really good cheese, right? And I think anything that you really invest in and are interested in exploring, right, in a positive way, right, to make sense of the world we live in. Yeah, it's art, but it's also finished pieces hold more weight than they should for a lot of people, right? Because it's really it's the making more than the thing for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, as you go ahead.
I was gonna say I always have to Google stuff after AJ says stuff. What was that guy's name again?
Renoir.
When you
Renoir.
said, what's the artist that made your thing on your arm, the tattoo? What's that artist?
MC Escher.
Dude, I was like, I love his song Hammer Time when I first heard it. I love his pants.
I have lost so much faith in the youth, man.
I'm just watching YouTube back here, man.
So, what was your favorite MC Escher song other than "Can't Touch This"? What? You said Renoir, the impressionist Renoir. Which impressions did he do? Can you do one?
Hey. They're all pretty fuzzy, so.
I don't know.
Waka waka.
I don't know if I can stand this.
It's hitting you from all angles, Boodro.
Dude, I feel like Jake Paul or Tyson, whichever one gets paid more.
So, you have a real person job.
I do.
You're like a
yes.
human.
Yeah, I'm trying, hanging on.
Hanging on. So, you're a teacher. You teach things. You teach stuff.
I teach stuff. I teach art. I teach videography. I teach media production at a college.
Is that creatively fulfilling for you? Is that?
It is when the students care, which is not 100% of them.
What percentage would you say?
At my school? I mean, it's great if anyone I work with is watching, but for everybody else, I would say like 10%.
10% give a fuck.
Yeah, yeah. In the classes that I teach specifically to, I do think there's a lot of people who think, oh, I'll take an art class because the professors are nicer there, but like it's something I'll tell them straight up. Like, yeah, you have to work harder than everybody else because there's no one's gonna hand you a path.
I was
with this
failing
major.
physics in a math, pursuing a math degree. That's why I took art and then never looked back.
I love the lone woo. That is what
physics.
Yeah.
that is what creativity is ultimately, right? It's like you do your stuff and then you hope one person goes woo.
And that's the connection.
That's
right?
enough.
Like,
Yeah.
that is.
That'll keep me going through next
Yep.
Tuesday. Oh, maybe this rope comes down today. I don't know. Give me a day to retie this thing. It's always better to check your knots when you're happy.
I like the fact
good
that
lesson.
Trundy ties better knots when he's happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Well, I can stand the YouTube videos when I'm in a good mood. You know what I mean? One time I was tying a noose.
Dude, you can't say for somebody else.
Let me finish.
You're my only friend when I'm like, I've got a noose emergency.
If you text me I have a noose emergency, I will get you a bucket full of nooses within 24 hours guaranteed. It'll say nooses 1 of 4. There was one time I lived a couple blocks away from here and the club was downtown. And I was just trying to take some pictures for the Instagram, and so I took a mic cord and I was doing a noose just because I thought it was funny. And it was like 1 a.m, dude, and I'm stoned out of my mind and I don't know what's going on. And then I get a knock on my door. It's 1 a.m, you know? And it was one of my across the street neighbors. She got locked out of her house. And we had never met before. And she was like,
Great introduction.
hey,
Coming up.
I got locked out of my house. My boyfriend's on his way home. I saw your light on. Can I hang out? I feel weird outside. I was like, absolutely. And she came in, and there was a noose on the floor, but with the YouTube directions still going.
And she told everyone she saved a life that
I think she
night.
did. She might have. Who knows? She might have. We never talked again. So with art and creativity and all of that stuff, and then having a real people job, I think so. I look at you and I think, well, this is. I honestly do believe this, and you're gonna hate when I say it. I do believe you're the most talented person I've ever met. And I know you hate that, and
You
that's
gotta
all
look
we
in the
needed to
mirror
do.
more
Let's get
often.
out of here.
Yeah.
This is the intervention where we just tell you we all love you.
You're the one doing this?
That's right, yeah. Yeah, and for doing the show, you get a goodie bag, and there's a noose in it. You're an artist. So when you take art and creativity, and then we sprinkle having to live inside of that, and you have to make money and the commerce part of it, how does that affect your creativity? How has it affected? I love the adjustment of the glasses right there. That was beautiful. How does that affect the creativity when you're trying to do it? And as far as like anxiety and the push towards making stuff when you have that thing looming over you, how do you deal with it?
Not all that well.
Yeah.
If you ask my wife, she's told me like I am worse when I have a full-time job. Like as a person, I'm
Yeah.
worse.
I agree.
Yeah. Because the time sink of like I want unlimited time. I don't really want breaks. I want to have a chance to make more things.
Yeah.
And the constant like pull of at the job you are always working on somebody else's thing, and at times it does feel like you're kind of, for lack of a better word, prostituting your skill set, right? Like the skills that you've developed making things that you think have meaning are then being used for something you think is either like a waste of time sometimes or like misdirected.
Dirty.
Yeah, but it's not really dirty. It's not immoral. It just feels icky for whatever reason because you're
dirty.
not using it for what you wanted to use it for.
Yeah.
So, but gotta get paid, so.
You do, yeah. It's so does that allow you to be, when you say this thing between the difference between stand-up and sketch? Can you explain that? You always talk about with sketch or improv, you don't have to look at people.
Yeah, it's great.
Can you?
The fourth wall.
It's great.
Yeah.
Can you explain that to me? Because we've always sat on the opposite side of the fence when it comes to this specific thing. So can you?
So in stand-up and improv, you have that, or sketch and improv, you have that fourth wall, right? Like that the scene gets to be insular, right? So you really, yes, you do want the laughs, you want to hear that, it helps feed it, but you can also just feed off the person with you. You create an entire reality, right? And a consistent reality that gets to expose kind of a larger truth about the reality that you're kind of deviating slightly from. And in stand-up, you do get to do that too, right? But you have to lead people along a little bit more, for the most part. Great people, I think, are able to kind of, in the same way that sketch and improv does naturally, of show rather than tell. Really great stand-ups can do that, but you have to be very specific on the hitting the exact right word and having that emotional connection with the audience, right? Where I get to be a little bit more absurdist and I don't have to be as connected. The relatability element of comedy is less important to a degree in stand-up and improv.
And
for
so
me.
with sketch and improv, do you go into it? You already know the emotions you need to have. Is that what's easier than pulling the emotions out of the air when you're doing stand-up?
So for sketch, I definitely know the emotions going in. Improv, it's not, right?
Yeah,
It's the whole
improv,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's making those big choices and choosing those emotions, right? And then also you get to play a game all the time, right? And you get these little blocks. And then you just get to oh, well, here's the first unusual thing. This is what's creating this reality. Right? And then you just be oh, well, give me more of that. That's fun, right? What's this little playground I get? And you just keep heightening and heightening till it's done, and then boom.
So it's easier to be someone else than it is to be you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, if we want to talk about how I actually got started in any sort of kind of creative performance, it's Dungeons and Dragons, and getting to fucking make a character and live in this fantasy world, that was the best. Yeah. And I was oh yeah, this character, I can have a completely different alignment. You get to live out all these things without hurting anybody, but you get to explore all these nuances.
Violence.
Yeah. Right? It's fun to have that as a thing that's not real.
Right.
And play around in all that. Yeah, so being someone different, it's a nice way to explore in a different way and, give yourself a new perspective.
Gotcha.
I do think stand-ups have that to a degree. But
Have what?
the ability to be someone else, right? Are you exactly you when you're up there?
I'm the most me
You're
when
pretty
I'm up
you,
there.
that's true.
Yeah. I feel so uncomfortable in my day-to-day life walking around, but then when I get on stage, I do feel like that's me, and I feel like the person I am all the other times is, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I guess that is actually what I feel during sketch that I don't feel during stand-up.
Okay.
I'm still very aware of myself, the self that I dislike.
Gotcha.
Right? Whereas in sketch, I'm no, I am all these
Oh, there's
different-
parts of you that you do like?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
fuck did you do that, dude?
You know, I like that I am inventive and will try things that won't work. That's my favorite thing about me.
Yeah.
That I will, you know, my brother and I had a group called Unstoppable Failure for a long time, right?
Yeah.
And that to me was, that's another kind of mission statement of mine. Of like, you know, I can roll around in it, keep attacking, and that's, again, that idea of sketch and heightening goes along with that kind of unstoppable kind of philosophy.
Where did you learn that lesson that with creativity it was okay to be messy and all right to miss and feel unstoppable? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
how you can make mistakes while you're getting creative without really picking yourself apart or making yourself want to quit or any of that. When did you learn that lesson? When did you learn that this whole thing has to be messy? If it's not messy, it's not fun.
So, like, in one of our early, and, you know, improv, I think, lends itself to that, right? Like, if you don't play around and you can't control what the other person's gonna do, right? So it's gonna be messy. And then again, so that was kind of my first big introduction to it beyond just messing around in art classes and stuff, and the idea of there are no mistakes, there's opportunities, right? Like, you always can keep adding, you can eventually fix something in any artwork. But in sketch, I remember there was a time where we were like trying to get pretty serious about it as a group. And we were like, we had this show concept, and we're like, I don't know if that's gonna work. And then we're like, fuck it, we're in Greensboro, why wouldn't we try it, right? Like, no one that sees us is going to make or break our lives. And that's really true wherever you are, but it's just easier to admit to yourself in Greensboro.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but Greensboro has HBO now.
Right,
so
that's true.
Yeah, so
They're
fuck you
featuring a new
guys.
show.
So the I've seen you come.
Please finish
Continue.
that sentence.
Finish. Pause.
Once I said the sentence, I figured I'd let it
I
linger.
like that alley-oop you gave me right there. It's been a while since I said something. Thank you.
When so we've been in the same circles for I don't know.
Pause.
Listen, now you just grasping the straws, Seth. I'll turn your fucking mic off.
I'd like to see you learn how. By the time you get the YouTube video pulled up, I'm already gone. I'm out of here.
I'm gonna learn how to shut a mic off, and then Seth's
I'm
not
just
getting a
wondering.
raise.
I'm wondering what's easier, nooses or Mike.
I have more experience with nooses. I've only been doing comedy for 12 years. I've had thank you for getting that one lady. Thank you for getting that one sad lady over here. We run in the same circles, and I feel like, you know, Steve and Jennie, owners of the Indie Bus Comedy Club, get up for them, please. Two of the greatest. They're two of the best human beings.
Some of the best.
Some of the best. I feel like there was a good 5 or 6 years when we were both going to the club, but we didn't really interact and meet each other. Just over the last 4 years, we started to kind of interact. I feel like we're Steve and Jennie's two favorite non-biological sons, probably. But I feel like you're the you're the one that like shows up to stuff and does things, and I'm the one they got to worry about. Yo, the other day I came into the open mic, and at the open mic you do 4 or 5 minutes, you know, but I haven't been coming out a lot because boom. And I showed up to the mic, and Dusty was like, do as much time as you want. And so I did 16 minutes.
It was
And
good.
I had so much fun. And then when I got off, I walked up to Steve and I was like, hey man, I apologize for going a little bit long. He was like, what am I gonna do? Light you and not give you your meds? You know what I mean? So it's obvious that they give a fuck about us.
Yeah.
With all the creativity and all the projects that you work on, is getting a job and money, all of that stuff. What are the biggest sacrifices you had to make in the interest of your creativity and the pursuit of, stuff?
Yeah, I've missed out on like family events at times. I don't know how many, I don't know. Part of it is I don't know what all I've missed because I'm always kind of busy working. Like there are times where I forget to eat and I like to work.
That's why we invited your son tonight.
Come on out here and introduce yourself, JD.
It'd be great if he walked in there. But yeah.
If JD would have came up here, the joke would have been funnier. But
I think the thing I gave up most was like knowing how to have a normal relationship at work, right?
Really,
Being able to be around people who aren't fucking insane and feel comfortable in that scenario.
Yeah, like real humans.
Yeah, that's tough.
It is tough. It's tough to have a conversation because are you able to have a conversation?
No, I'm terrible at small talk. Right? Like I don't get it. I don't know.
Look, can we practice?
Yeah, let's go for it.
We're at
Pretend we're puppets.
Okay.
we're at the cafeteria after gym class at your school. I don't
All
know.
right, I'm worried this chocolate will kill my dog. Did I do it? Are we there? Are we friends now? Please.
You asked for it.
I can explain it more on stage. What do you want?
Fair enough. Yeah, I have a hard time. With the small talk too. I'm in my head so often, and I'm thinking about what I'm thinking about, and then whenever anybody's like, "How you doing?" I'm like, my mother's dying.
Right. Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, and they don't know how to respond to what I say either, so it is fair back and forth. Right?
Do you have what percentage of your friends are like humans versus like what we do?
My wife.
My wife.
All right, you'd never do that again.
My wife. I'm just 5 minutes of that. My wife.
Yeah, I don't just like hang out.
Yeah,
with
me
people,
either.
and I don't have any desire to.
So,
Because I can make puppets.
if I could make puppets, I'd be home all the time. Yeah. One of my favorite things is showing up to a show or a mic. I walk in, and you always say to me, "I can't wait to watch you walk off stage and leave." Because that's what I do. I get off stage and I fucking leave now. I used to stay through the whole thing, but it's just like, it's really painful to stick around and have to have conversations afterwards, because then someone does come up and they're like, "Hey, good set." And I'm like, "I like you less now."
Right.
I know what I did. I do not trust you.
Right. And I feel like I'm already having the conversation watching them talk on stage, right? Like I feel like that's the conversation. And yeah, hanging out afterwards and like riffing on new things, that's enjoyable to me because we're all like, "Oh, here's our broken brains. Let's all put it to work together on the problem." Right? We have a project again in this circle, kind of riffing on these various things.
There was one time AJ was like literally about to leave. It was like 1 a.m, and then we were like, "Hey AJ, do you think Jermaine is a federal agent?" And he was like, "God damn it, I guess I'll talk for a few more minutes." And we just made up reasons Jermaine worked for the FBI, and it was like, it was awesome.
Yeah, if you present to me a flight of fancy, sure, let's get into it.
I got a couple of those we'll get to in a little bit. You said that you stay busy and you don't take breaks. I only take breaks. I try to live my life as a break. You know what I'm saying? And then when I do something, I'm just like, ugh. You know what I mean? I hate having to do the one thing. I like this week, I was like, "Oh, really busy week," and this was all I had to do. You know what I mean? What do you think will happen if you stopped and took a break. Why do you?
Ooh.
Why do you?
Okay.
Why are you the
Getting
shock of the
very
ocean?
Personal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what do you think will happen if you do stop and take a break? And is it? Oh, you just don't want to be.
I think it'll be mentally bad. I think I'll be asking for that bucket of nooses. Like I do like if I don't have a like active show I'm working on, like I'd get in my car every day and just scream.
We've all heard your car drive away. That isn't the car. That's.
Those belts are like $25 to fix on your car.
Car's working.
It's not the belt. It's him crying.
Yeah.
He also doesn't need to change the belts. Just lift the hood, cry on the belts. That'll lube him up. So that's why you just like constant movement. You always have a show to work on. You're always.
Yeah, I don't. The show is always the part I like the least. It's the working on stuff up until the show, right?
It's just. I mean. The process of creating is, I think, a thing that we have to do because, from our conversations, we both feel that same way. But I think mine comes from, I like being distracted. Like, I don't want to be in my thoughts. I'd rather be in whatever thoughts are going to bring me the next idea. And same for you? Like
similar, but I do also think I have a lot of like social anxiety.
Same.
And then every time I do have conversations, I tend to like regret everything I did and said, and like I will like, I'll believe I offended somebody and just run it over in my head for weeks at a time.
Yeah.
But
well, that's why we're here, because you offended me a couple years ago, and I've been wanting to talk to you about it. But so the social anxiety, let's talk about that just real quick. And by real quick, I mean for the rest of the show.
Sure.
But the social anxiety, how weird is it? Because I have so much anxiety, I have so much social anxiety. It's really difficult to just come out and be around people all the time. But then when I do, I'm on this thing,
right.
And I'm up here facing everybody. It's just such a confusing thing to me. I said something on stage the other night. It's like, if you don't feel well, you have to ask for help, ask for help, ask for help. But then when you ask for help, I'm on stage, I'm like, hey, I think I'm going to kill myself. And everybody's like, it's very confusing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I remember talking to you, after we had both seen Bo Burnham's special, like inside, we were talking about like how good it was, but then you're also like a very powerful comment. I think of like, I hope somebody's asking how he is, right?
I wrote a piece about it after I watched it, probably for the 50th time,
right.
And I was like, I think a lot of people are going to see that, and this is how I kind of feel about you. It's like I think a lot of people are going to see what he created, and they're going to love that, and they're going to take joy out of it, and they're going to look at you or look at him, and that's going to make them happy. But in order to make the thing he makes, or the stuff that you make, there's no way to get there without that fucking pain. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of that inside. There's a lot bit of that inside you. You know what I mean?
But then I do think, then that's the ability. Talking to people never worked for me to relieve that pain, right? Like that valve, because I never felt like I could. I've always been bad at like trying to figure out my own feelings and put those into words when I'm having a conversation in the moment.
Okay.
If I can present another character who's dealing with a similar issue or anything like that, I'm able to like present it in a more creative way and explore it and eventually get to something that vaguely makes sense, right? That gives me an in to my own feelings in some way.
So the sketch or the shows, those are how much of that is, for lack of a better term, the therapy or getting your emotions out in some way? Is it therapeutic for you, or is it?
It is therapeutic for me, but I'm not focused on that while I'm working on it, right? Like I'm not thinking, oh, this is, because I don't believe it takes the place of therapy, right? I do think when you need that help, like get that help, don't just go talk to strangers. Right? But it definitely, like kind of retroactively, like when I look back at the work, I'm like, Oh,
I
this
should
is
talk
why
to
I've been
somebody.
a dick. Yeah.
That's how you were. You can look back at the work you did and kind of know where you were.
Yeah, it gives me a sense.
Gotcha.
Right? So that's part of the reason, right? It helps me, like, cause just in my head doesn't really understand. Like, I just feel like warm or like goopy, right? Like, but when I can, like, put it into a sketch, suddenly I'm like, oh, well, I can communicate. That makes me feel better existing in the world.
A little bit easier.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite things to do is to watch you do improv. I love watching you and everybody, but you and Jennie and Steve are always the
great.
funniest to me.
Well, it's so easy to do improv with Steve and Jennie.
Is it really?
Yeah.
All right, let's do some right now. Steve, where are you?
Hey!
All right, here's what we need to do. We're going to do a little bit of an improv scene. Steve, hold on. Steve, you are a friend of AJ's, and he's getting a tattoo at a comedy club. Go.
Is it looking good?
Oh, it's stuff. It's.
Oh, that's part
I,
of it.
I wouldn't be concerned now.
But
Later, there'll be time for concern. Hey, it will make you stronger.
I don't know if you understand how tattoos work. Like, just because they're like the tattoo doesn't make somebody tough.
Oh yeah, Miley Cyrus could kick your ass. She's got more tattoos than you. That's it. That's the total thing. Yeah, that toughness is just it's directly proportional too. Like now you can kick my ass. I got no tattoos.
That's
But
wild.
before it would have been a tie. We would have fought to a draw.
What? I hope I don't hurt you next time we hug.
It'll hurt in here. If you don't hug me.
I will squeeze you to health, my friend.
And scene.
Steve Lesser, everybody. I don't know. You might be the first person to ever do an improv scene while getting tattooed.
Well, Steve really did it. I was focusing on this.
You don't really need to focus. I just.
Yeah.
How we doing, Boodro?
Oh, we're doing good, man.
You
It's
doing
looking-
good? How you
yeah.
feeling? You guys feeling good? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I feel fine, really.
You feel fine? Yeah. How do you,
I'm glad you're keeping your spirits
Yeah,
up.
pain.
You're
Pain
so
level.
tough, Boodro.
It's pretty sweet.
all right, that's the show.
Just-
I'm just,
I was gonna ask you something, AJ.
Yeah.
So you're like, I don't know if you guys saw it earlier, but AJ helped me out with some audio stuff because he's like Iron Man. So you're like a really good tech whiz with like cameras, audio, and stuff. Where did that come from? Because like for me, I started doing this because I was like, I wish somebody would make this, and then nobody would make it. So I was like, I'll just do it myself. So
Yeah.
that came from just wanting to make, and it's sloppy and whatever, but like I'm getting better at it. Where did that come from for you? This
Yeah, definitely a similar
Excellent.
place, right? Like
Yeah.
I just wanted to make things, and then I needed to learn this skill to know how to do this one stupid bit,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And then the next stupid bit came along, and I was like, well, I guess I got to learn how to do this now, right?
Yeah.
Like, and you know, I somewhat like I do have to thank my dad to a degree where he like. He never assumed he was gonna be bad at something, right?
I feel that.
Right? He's always like, yeah, I can do it. Donald Schraeder can take this on, right? Like, and so, like, I guess I was just like, you know, I didn't have fear. Like, so what if I'm bad at first? I saw my dad think he wasn't going to be bad at stuff and be bad at lots of
Yeah.
stuff. And it didn't bother him at all, right?
Would he like admit it? He's like, that was bad. Or was like, that was awesome. Like,
he'd still pretty much say it was awesome. I think for the most part.
I mean,
occasionally-
that's a big gift to get from your peer, and I mean, that it's at the very least a little bit of confidence, whether accurate or
not, yeah.
misplaced, right? It's still nice to be able to go and fuck up and have an example of somebody fucking up constantly.
Yeah, yeah. I know. Like we had a toilet in our house that worked via golf club. Like for most of my life, he was like, "Yeah, I can fix this," and just wrap the chain around a golf club that you then had to lift up all the time. He's like, "Yeah, the fridge isn't broken; it's a dresser now." So that made me believe anything could be anything.
I love the sentence, "We had a toilet that worked via golf club."
Yeah.
That's my favorite. So on top of what old Sethy boy was asking, with the technical part of it, I've watched a lot of your I've watched a lot of your shows, and some of my favorite moments in this club has been watching some of your shows. Thunderstood, that's what it's called, right? Thunderstood it's one of my favorite shows. And you do those things all by yourself. What was that look?
Yeah, I mean, no one is completely by themselves.
Yeah, but you are.
Optimus Prime.
I see you. I see you doing the show. You got the little clicker on your belt. I think if people watch that show, if I didn't know you, I would think there's got to be 12 people working on this fucking thing, and it's just you, man.
I'm bad at giving up control.
Is that what it is?
It's part of it, but it also when you do technical things, for comedy's sake, like the timing of it is so important, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like as the comedian, right, giving that to somebody else, not that they can't do a great job, but like if you're gonna say it's your comedy, timing matters.
Yeah.
So having that control is important, and also it's just makes it easier to do, right? Because one of the hardest things about sketch groups and improv groups is just finding a time to get together, right? Like that's one thing stand-ups, I think, have it very easy comparatively of like, yeah, anytime you want to work on it, you can work on it.
Right.
But with sketch and improv, a lot of times people will have to like figure out a time for everyone, or then only one person knows how to do this thing. And
Right.
I thought you were trying to say all stand-ups were unemployed.
No.
I mean, pretty fucking close.
The good ones.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. I know when I first started doing comedy, stand-up was the thing for me because I didn't have to rely on anybody else, and it was just me. And then if it was good, I get to eat all that chocolate by myself. And if it's bad, I get to eat the shit sandwich all alone, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you get to actually eat that chocolate sandwich or whatever? But when it's good, do you feel that joy?
I eat so much chocolate, AJ. I don't know if we're in the analogy or not right now, but it makes me sick.
I'm still worried about his dog.
Fucking call back to the joke. Nobody remembers.
Hey, you got it.
I think the last 2 years specifically, I've really spent more time on trying to find the W's in the set and eat the chocolate afterwards. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It used to be, if it was good, 90%. I was only focused on the 10 that wasn't. Same as you. I go back in my head and I think of all the things I did wrong and who did I offend and all of this stuff. And I've really put an emphasis on trying to understand what I did correctly. And it's taken a lot of pressure off, I think having a bad set used to keep me away. Like I would just go home and just fucking, whip myself like the fucking, you know what I mean? But then I just realize if I can be good for 30 seconds a week, it's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the year, that's almost a half hour. That's 20, you know what I mean? It's 26 minutes if I can get 30 seconds a week.
I had a killer half hour over the past year.
That's right. And I've only cried for 9 hours to get it, dude. You know what I mean? It's pretty good math.
That's great.
All right.
Because I don't know if I've found how to celebrate if I don't feel like I did everything right.
What do you mean?
Like my festival show.
Yeah.
A lot of people really liked it. I was so focused on all the things I like the little moments I was like, I fucked that.
Yeah.
I fucked that so hard. And that's what like was running through my head like that whole night.
Yeah.
It's like a weird balance between like wanting to get better, because that's how you get better at stuff, is like saying, oh, that sucked, and then like a fine balance between, oh, I can do this better, and also you did this well. Like you don't need to beat yourself up so hard. It's like a weird balance.
The first time me and Boodro got together here for the festival, we did he gave me a tattoo, and I had such a fun night that night. And then the next night, I was at the Carolina Theater, and so when I got the tattoo, I was riffing. We did an hour. It was fun. And then the next night at the Carolina, I did a half hour of material. It was all written, and I just kind of wanted to get rid of it and record it and whatever. And I did it, and the crowd liked it, and I fucking hated it. Like, I hated it, and everybody was coming up to me afterwards like, hey, man, great show. And I was like, it could have been better. And then I talked to a comedian friend of mine. I called him that night, and I was just walking around. And I was telling him, I was like, the night before, man, I felt so free and artistic, and like, that's who I want to be. And then I went and did this thing, and I felt rigid and boxy, and I just didn't like it. And he said, what did the crowd think? And I said, the crowd really liked it. And he said, what did you say when they told you they liked it? I said, I apologize. He said, stop ruining their fucking night.
Fair.
Which is true. Like the amount of times when I would apologize to people giving me compliments, I was ruining their night. They thought it was good, and I was like, you're wrong.
Yeah. Someone got a babysitter for that, and you're just like, that was horse shit. And
There was one time where we did a festival like Trouble with Shapes, and like we weren't proud of our performance, and we were like kind of decompressing at a pizza place around the corner from the theater afterwards, just fucking tearing into ourselves. And then like after 20 minutes of us just shitting all over ourselves, this like meek little woman comes up behind us and is like, I just want you to know I really enjoyed
Right before that, he said, anybody who liked that is a stupid piece of shit and should die.
But yeah, it is good to remember that it is a performance, and people have given up a night to come see it, right?
Isn't that like, does that add to the pressure of your performance at all, or your anxiety? It does mine. Like I think about like coming into a night like tonight, my whole worry is like, I hope people show up, and then automatically after, I fucking get anxious because, all right, everybody has to come. Stop it. It's like working with a fucking teenager. I saw you do that. Everybody has to come. Get it out. Everybody has to plan on being here. They got to leave the house. You know, it's gas, it's food, it's babysitter, it's all that shit. And so, like, if I take a show somewhere, for 2 weeks beforehand, that's all I'm thinking about is like the thousands of dollars people spent to come watch me do butthole jokes. They better be good buttholes.
They're good butthole jokes.
Yeah. I mean, they're top-notch butthole jokes, but I mean, so does that ever add to the anxiety for you?
Oh yeah, and it's like it's weird because like there are sometimes when I get like everything set up and it's just ready to go before the show, and that's the worst I can feel before a show, right? If things are going wrong right before the show and I have something to focus on and fix, I'm like, all right.
It's a nice distraction.
Yeah, like I'm not worried about like the audience being there in that situation. But yeah, I mean, it's like if I don't feel like I've had enough time to rehearse and practice it, I terrified. And I always feel that way with stand-up too, compared to sketch, because like I know mics are like the rehearsal process.
Sure.
But in sketch you have rehearsals alone, and that is nice because the mic, as soon as I'm in front of people, I feel like, oh, this is a performance.
Right.
I should have worked on this longer. But part of it is that I'm supposed to be dicking around a little bit and trying to find things in the mic in the room. And so that's
instant
always
feedback thing that you don't get in rehearsal like with sketch.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you do to a degree. It's just a very insular group, right?
Yeah.
Like when you've got a team, and yes, you probably have developed a similar sense of humor, so you're gonna kind of be playing to the back of the room a little bit, but you do have like, you know, a focus group. It's more like a writer's mic all the time as opposed to just a normal mic.
And so going into a sketch show versus a stand-up, the anxiety for the stand-up is?
I have no control in the stand-up show.
You have no control?
No control. Like a lot of times I won't know the exact number of minutes before I get there. I won't know where I am in the lineup.
You don't know when a couple is going to leave in the middle and not see the end of your tattoo.
They'll never know.
I wasn't going to bring it. I was super glad when that guy left. If we're being honest. I was like super excited about it. It's the only reason. I knew everybody else was going to be cool, but before we started, I was like, if you have something to say, don't say it. I was like talking to that guy. So fucking glad he left. I'm sure they're nice.
You were in the middle of like, so tell me about the book, and he was just like, you ready to go? That guy's awesome.
He texted me. He's outside waiting for me.
So I was gonna ask you, AJ, as a performer, like, do you remember the first time you saw like your name and picture on like a poster? Because I remember the first time I saw like my name on like a little marquee thing, and I was just like, oh, you idiots are gonna watch me. Like, what was that like for you the first time you saw that? Because you talk about the anxiety and the fraud stuff.
What a clever way for Seth to say that his name was on a marquee.
I heard that humble brag.
It was right after.
I don't know about the rest of you, but how did it feel for you when you got famous?
Afterwards, it was like Bitcoin sold here right after.
So the Idiot Box, the original location, they used to, when you were in the show, they had these little like TV frame things with your picture in it. And when you were on the show, you got put on the wall like that night, right? And it had a stupid little bio, like fucking made up. But I remember seeing that and then walking immediately into the bathroom and just... and it became like a tradition for me before shows where I was like, yep, AJ's going to have his pre-show poop.
Wait, you guys do yours before the show? I do mine during most of the time. Hey. Poop, poop, poop. It's funny.
So yeah, that's how it felt. It was like, all right, things got to get out of me. Let's go. Yeah. Because that was the first time I really like was doing it for a paying audience, right? Like in high school and everything, it was just like, yeah, improv shows. Oh yeah, your parents are coming, and the tension that class that had to be there while we were rehearsing might have gotten interested in it, like friends from school. But like, it's different when people are paying and giving up a night. Yeah. Like there's a higher pressure for sure.
Is that it, Seth? You got any more poop jokes?
I'll think of some later.
I just keep going back to me, like saying everybody's got to come, and I can just picture you.
Why are you thinking about me like that? Come on. All right. All right, that's the last.
So this is a pretty technical tattoo, so y'all gonna not hear much from me. But Mr. Trundy and I were talking earlier, and he brought it up, momentarily. AJ was a huge part of this happening the first time. I mean, he did all my camera work for me. Helped me set up. I mean, really played a huge part. And then, Mr. Trundy, calls me 2 weeks later and he's like, man, I'm watching this footage and I can't stop watching it. I think we should, do something with this. And it's a real full circle moment. All the key players to make this happen are here right now, actively participating. So how many times do you feel like you've had that full circle, and Mr. Trundy used the word earlier, gelling, like just everything is just fitting right?
Yeah, there have been a handful of times in sketch, like with larger groups. First time we did the Hufflepuff show, like I just remember like kind of there was like this, we performed it in Charlotte, and there was this weird kind of dance club bar thing that I would not go to otherwise, but like we're there, and I remember there was another sketch group there that we had become really good friends with, Robot Johnson from Charlotte, and like just that sense of community and things. I remember that's one time where I was like, yep, this is gonna be as good as it is, looking out at that. And,
was that the peak?
It's one of my favorite moments. Yeah, just like in terms of performance and friendship and feeling, because I do a lot of stuff by myself, right? And that is a different feeling. First time Don't We Boys performed here in North Carolina, I felt that kind of gel.
Was that
sense.
at the Star Theater?
Yeah,
It's my favorite show I've ever seen.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys were fucking unbelievably funny that night. And then I asked you guys a bunch of questions because I did enjoy it so much that I'm positive I pestered all of you all night. But I just kept asking you questions about stuff. And one of the things that stuck with me was I asked you, because those other two guys live in Chicago, I do believe.
Grand Rapids and one guy in Chicago.
Yeah, so I was just like, how the fuck did you guys practice this? And you told me that you guys, you did it over phone calls and
Yep.
fucking, I don't know, the MySpace or whatever the fuck it was.
Yep. Whatever it was then, Skypes, Zooms, and also when I was touring colleges, we were also just fucking in a van together forever. So we were just riffing and running lines like all the time. So.
Tell me what's funny.
I'm just proud of myself for not saying anything about the second time he said doo-doo and also fucking in a van. So I'm
Proud of you, Seth.
thanks. Also, I was on a marquee once, but
You mentioned community and all that. How big a part of your life is the group of people that you've surrounded yourself with? A lot of them are here tonight, so no pressure. But like the Idiot Box, and then the other groups that you perform with, and just comedy friends in general. I feel like they maybe understand us a little bit more. But how big of a part of your life is that community? You know what I mean? Like,
It's huge. Yeah.
It's like the most important thing.
It is my social connection to people. Like I feel like my buddy Cam from Canada. Like I can see him at any point, and it feels like we've been friends forever. We know very little about each other's lives,
Right.
but we
Isn't
know,
that the best?
Yeah. It's great because we know we connect comedically. Like we know we're broken in similar ways, and so there's a shorthand, and like we're having these conversations that we can get into deep things when we want to, but we're also kind of like exploring and digging. Like the conversation doesn't stop because we're always building something together.
Right, right.
And the Idiot Box is the first place that like I really felt like, oh shit, I love it here. I understood fraternities as soon as I joined the Idiot Box. I was like, oh, this is why people do that, right? They find a group of people broken like them,
And then they get a fucking tattoo together.
drink Bud Light.
You mentioned your friend Cam in Canada. Has Cam ever been on a marquee like Seth?
Yeah, he's been on a couple.
What's it like being able to do like comedy with your brother and like family? Like that's cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. He's taken a little break from it, but yeah, all my favorite shows have been with my brother Al.
Yeah, because that's crazy to me that like, because I have two brothers, but one of them was in a ska band and the other one likes to hunt deer. We're so opposite, like all of us, but you guys found that together. That's so cool to me.
Yeah, and I've said this on other podcasts and things before, but we always, the big ideas, immediate like cohesion, right?
Yeah.
And then we would fight like assholes over shit that doesn't matter and like little nuances.
Like
of,
brothers, yeah.
Yeah, but it did matter. Like, and the fact that we both thought it mattered was also really fucking cool, even though we might yell at each other at some point during it.
Do you remember the most minute thing that you guys argued about? Al, do you remember the most minute thing?
They're all important.
Yeah. No, but it is shit like just like, yeah, should this beat be 10 seconds long or should it be 7 seconds long?
You know it matters.
It does matter, yeah. Well, I wouldn't have argued back if I didn't actually think it matters, yeah.
Fight.
It's right now. It's great when we actually get to work together. And it's a shorthand. And we had a string of just like really great shows, but it happened because we had one really shitty show.
What do you mean?
Oh, only one, yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
I mean, well, there was one that like shook us up when we did a show in Michigan, and we were like, and it really wasn't that bad. It was another one of those like we felt so much worse.
What was the
than
feeling
audience.
going into that show? Did you feel confident? Did you feel like?
Yeah, I think we felt like we knew what we were doing because
Yeah.
we, for the most part, did.
Practiced.
But they just, and they didn't just respond as enthusiastically as we were expecting, and it kind of made us remind ourselves like, oh, we can always check in with each other, right? Like, and from that point on, we then had a string of just phenomenal shows. Where
What made the shows coming after that phenomenal? The ability to check in, the fact that you
a
knew
little bit the ability to check in, the ability to like when we weren't feeling like the audience wanted to be there, the ability to get mad, right? There was
on
one,
stage.
Yeah. Al especially is good at it. And there was one time where like someone came up to after and was like, "Man, you guys, it seemed like you were really angry." I was like, "Yeah." We were. Because they had booked us after somebody, we were doing 20 minutes and they had someone do like an hour and 15 before us. It felt like we didn't need to be at that festival, right? Like that everyone was already in. But then, it ended up killing. And I think it's because Aldon just came out there and was like, I'm not talking until I feel like they are ready for me. Because we were doing this golf sketch where like he kind of plots around the hole.
Gotcha.
The first time.
Are you? How many shows are you working on right now?
3.
How do you do that?
Yeah. Oh, because.
Not why.
Right.
How?
Because it's how I have to work on new shows, right? Because when I hit a block, I don't want to stay blocked, right?
Right.
So if I have like, oh, well, here's another concept that I get to noodle with, or here's a piece of tech that I've been putting off doing that now doesn't require that part of my brain.
So you're
it
in
requires
different
this part of the brain.
parts of the process with all those.
Yeah, and I always believe like the best way to kind of get out of writer's block is to not focus on it, right? And to just start something new.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's a distraction technique, right? Yeah, like let me get my mind off of that, and then I'm 3/4 the way through this other project, and then boom, I found the thing I needed for the other one. Yeah.
So I'm working on 3, but it could all be 1. I don't know yet. Yeah.
Right. If you were, we got some silly questions I got to ask you just because we do them on everyone. But if you were talking to somebody who was interested in doing what you do, the sketch, the improv, well, mostly the sketch and stand-up, and you were giving writing advice to anybody, what's something that you would tell people, advice-wise, as far as writing?
As far as writing advice, I always say just fucking write a paragraph and leave it alone, like the night before, right? So that you're not starting from a blank page when you're trying to write.
Okay.
I think that's always the biggest hurdle.
Okay.
That and always just like stand-up, keep a notebook. Anything that not anything that you find funny, sure, always write anything you find funny down, but anything you have an emotional reaction to, right? It can be the least funny thing in the world, but if you have an emotional you can find the way to make it funny.
I agree.
Seth has duty written 700 times.
Also, Boodro writes what people are talking about beside him, so, I mean, your arm is just covered in duty. Also, I was going to say, all the advice you're giving, like that, I was going to say, there was a guy who told me that once before, and it was you. And I was like, oh, yeah, I remember that one time after a show, you told me this thing. And all. It's always been cool to, bend your ear with stuff like that. Appreciate you, dude. Right.
I'm gonna cry. If someone asks me for advice, it's coming out. So.
Yeah. All right, couple quick questions, and then I might take some questions from the audience if you guys are interested. So if you have anything, percolate and let me know. All right, couple quick ones. These are the ones we ask. Seth, if I miss any, please hop in. Favorite candy bar? You can only have one. I know and you're like a diet weirdo, right? Like you're one of them there fucking. You're one of them there. I feel like you're a vegan.
Vegetarian.
Vegetarian. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Favorite candy bar? You can only have one candy bar for the rest of your life. They're all the rest of them are gone. What do you pick?
Payday.
God damn it. Payday.
Why?
Yeah, why do you pick
I
this?
don't
Why
want
do
my
you like
candy
payday?
hiding in chocolate.
What's that?
I don't want my candy hiding. So, like, if I only have one,
Yeah.
it's payday.
Why?
If I talk about my favorite, because it's the thing I can eat the most often.
Okay.
Right? That's
Okay.
the thing I look at the bar, like, oh, yeah, I can have a payday. Reese's cups, my favorite candy.
Gotcha.
But if I have more than one full-size Reese's cup, I feel like a piece of shit. Payday, I'm like, yeah, let's go to town, right? And also, I don't like, so many of them look the same. Payday, distinct, it gets to live, it's
glob.
not hiding behind anything
Yeah.
else. It's just there.
The working man's bar.
Yeah.
I feel like payday. You answer payday if you're a 65-year-old man.
Back in my day, we used to flush our toilets with golf clubs.
Well, what are the other questions we have?
I wrote this one down the other night.
Yep.
So, what teacher did you have in the past? What teacher would you have a beer with now that you had in the past? One of those teachers.
Ray Marty, my painting professor. Yeah.
That's what I was gonna
Or if I, my improv teacher, Steve Lesser. Right?
Nice. Cheers.
Yeah. Peanut butter jelly sandwich? Do you like?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah.
All right. So this.
So is that what we doing? We got some?
I mean, I got mine in my car, but I didn't bring them to share. I feel like peanut butter jelly sandwiches are like fingerprints. They're not the same, no matter who I ask, right? So I'm gonna walk you through the process of making a peanut butter jelly sandwich, and then you tell me how you make the peanut butter jelly sandwich, right? You have everything you could possibly need to make a peanut butter jelly sandwich perfectly, right? You walk into your kitchen, right? You go into the cabinet, you grab your peanut butter. What kind of peanut butter is it?
All right, it's peanut butter with peanuts.
Okay.
I don't like the term chunky peanut.
You don't like?
I think they say distinct, and you have two things, so it's less sad when I put it in my mouth with a spoon.
So you like peanut butter with peanuts.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So crunchy.
Peanut butter with peanuts. Yeah.
All right. So what?
Extra peanuts.
Bone-in peanut butter.
What brand of peanut butter with peanuts are you grabbing?
I'm doing just a generic.
Generic, whatever
Yeah.
just doesn't say crunchy.
Whatever
on it.
cost me the least.
All right,
yeah.
that's fair. And then you grab your jelly, your jam. What do you grab?
Uh-huh.
What is it?
If I have my ideal,
It's whatever you want.
it's probably like a blueberry preserve.
Blueberry preserve, beautiful. All right, yeah. I love the love for the blueberry preserve.
Oh, it was like golf claps. It was like,
All right, you got your peanut butter with peanuts.
Uh-huh.
You got a blueberry preserve,
Yeah.
and then you're going to grab the bread. What kind of bread you grab?
If I have it available.
Everything's available.
All right, the homemade banana with chocolate chips.
Really?
Who
Yeah.
makes it? Who made it?
Yeah, who made
My
it?
wife probably made it
Ah,
or I've made my own kind of honey wheat bread would be the other option.
It's the fanciest answer I've ever had.
Yeah,
All right.
I like how it went from payday because it's a glob and also like this touching sandwich story.
All right, so you got the banana chocolate homemade bread. You have a blueberry preserve.
Yeah.
You have peanut butter with peanuts, and then you go into the drawer to grab your. What do you grab?
Go into the drawer.
Yeah, you go into the drawer. You got to spread this shit on the bread. What are you
Oh,
grabbing?
oh yeah, I'm using a knife.
All right, a lot of
Yeah,
people
yeah.
say spoon there, so I just want to,
Yeah.
these fucking weirdos. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
So you grab a knife, and then what goes on the bread first?
The peanut butter.
Peanut butter, one piece of bread, two pieces of bread.
On one piece of bread.
One piece of bread.
Yeah.
All right, and then you.
Then I'm gonna crush up some peanut butter filled pretzels on top of that. Get a little texture in there,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Then on the other piece of bread, I'm gonna spread my blueberry preserves. Then I'm gonna take some honey and I'm gonna drizzle that over top of the pretzel bites,
Okay.
right?
When did you become a millionaire?
The first time I had an edible, right?
We weren't even done. So the honey on the fancy honey on the peanut butter pretzels on top of the peanut butter with the
I
peanut.
do like that you know that it's the fancy honey. I
Of
didn't
course it
mention
is.
it, but yes, it is
You did?
local honey.
Yeah, it's local honey, obviously, dude.
It's not the little bear or something. None of that trash.
So you got that, and then are we done with the sandwich at this point?
There might be some apple butter that goes on top of the blueberry preserve.
Apple butter on top. So all right, it's a foot thick.
It's a thick boy. Yeah, it's a thick boy.
It's a thick ass sticky boy. So we done now?
Yeah, I'm gonna eat that.
Do you and your dog try to eat it together and run away from
that's
ghosts?
the problem.
and-
There's chocolate in the bread,
There's chocolate in the bread. Can't give it to
and
the
I'm
dog.
terrified of it.
So then you make the sandwich bread on bread. Do we cut it? Are we eating it whole? What are we doing?
It depends how firm the bread was, but I'm gonna generally eat it whole.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I'll grab it all
And if it's not firm, you eat it with a
if it's
spoon?
not firm, I'll grab a spoon. If it gets too messy.
And
in
now
decadence.
and now we got a peanut butter concoction in a bowl.
Yeah. And I'm putting some ice cream on that. I'm heating it up for a few seconds.
I mean,
Boom.
I love that we got to dinner. that is the
I
most.
don't want to be hungry after my peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
That's a fair point, dude. The amount of times I've had to make 2 peanut butter jelly
Right.
sandwiches and then go back and make another one, immeasurable.
Yeah.
So yeah, the amount of time I've wasted in my life on that 3rd peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Is this how you make the sandwich, or your butler makes the sandwich? Come on.
This is all me. The
Yeah.
butler would get it wrong, all right?
We're a one-man show.
Yeah, we gotta have that control.
This is the Thunderstood peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That is the fanciest peanut butter jelly sandwich. And I've asked this question over 100 times, by the way, and that's the fanciest. It's the most I've ever wanted to try
Yeah.
somebody's peanut butter jelly sandwich. So
You're
we're all
welcome.
going to AJ's after the show. All right. All right, back to serious questions. So you can have ear feet or feet ears. Which one?
I'm so confused.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So it's real
my-
easy.
This is a Seth question.
So the feet, if they turn into ears, so your feet are ears, but they're the size your feet would normally be, and you can hear with them and everything.
Yeah.
Or you got feet on your ears where your ears would be, and they're just as big as the ears, and you can like wiggle the toes and stuff.
But I can no longer hear.
You can hear with your feet.
No, but you can only have one or the other.
Right, I thought you were getting.
You can hear
choose.
through your feet ears.
You can hear through the feet ears. Yeah.
Yeah, it's official.
Oh, then the feet ears, if I can hear through them.
So feet, ears.
Yeah.
Not ear feet.
No, those don't seem like they'd get good traction.
All right.
Sometimes Seth and I will eat an edible and come up with questions.
Yeah. Ice cream truck comes through your neighborhood. Well, first off, what do you call it? Is it an ice cream truck? What do you call it?
Pony boy. What do you call? What do
Yeah.
you guys call the ice cream truck? Anybody? Ice cream, just the ice cream
Okay.
truck.
Yeah.
What
The
do you call
Magic
it?
Man. I don't know. Ice cream truck. Yeah.
The ice cream truck comes through your neighborhood. You go up. You see they got all the pictures on the side of all the ice cream wares that they are selling. What's the one thing that you pick out every time?
I like that strawberry shortcake bar.
Yeah, buddy, thank you. Yeah, everybody else can go fuck themselves. I swear to God, that's why I quit Facebook. I swear to fucking God, man. I was on Facebook and I was like, if anybody got a problem with strawberry shortcakes, go fuck yourself. And everybody came in like Choco Tacos, Nutty Buddies. I was like, fuck the world. It's strawberry shortcakes far and away, right?
We get each other.
Yeah.
Is
All
that
right.
what started the news time?
I mean, it can. You know what I mean? If I don't have my strawberry shortcake medicine. All right. You guys want to answer? You guys want to do some crowd questions?
Yeah, audience questions.
Anybody got any questions? Anybody at all? Any got any questions for Seth, Boodro, or you got one? Where is it back there? One second. Oh yeah, I'm bringing the mic there, dum dum. She was like, I wasn't. All right, what's your question?
Okay, it's for AJ. As somebody who makes good stuff, what do you think is the biggest pitfall of people who just make mediocre stuff? If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's that they stop making stuff, right? Like, if eventually things get good, or so when people just kind of be like, yeah, I did it, right? It's that like looking back at it, continuing to noodle. Right? The idea of giving yourself notes, I think, is something that elevates it past. Like everything I make initially is mediocre stuff, right? And then I try to get it to be just a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean that is a good answer, right? Like, if you're making mediocre stuff, you can get discouraged so easy. I like strive for mediocre stuff, if we're being perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Like if I'm like, if I can get it to be mediocre like pretty quickly, I know it'll be good eventually.
Yeah.
Because most stuff is bad when I make it.
Yep.
If you're making stuff and you think it's gonna be good right off the bat, you're 1,000,000% wrong, and you're setting yourself up for failure and to walk away from creativity in general, because it just feels like you fucking suck all the time.
And it's something I learned kind of painting, that like I never so I would come in with an idea, but then there always became a point where I felt like I was actually having a conversation with the work, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
right? That I was actively trying to not just think, what do I want to put on this? Like, what does the work need from me? In a degree.
Yeah, it's a good way. Boudreaux, what's up? You good?
Yeah, we're done.
We're done, everybody. I was going to ask if anybody else has any more questions, but I don't need you now. Real quick, we'll let Boudreaux, you got anything to say? Go ahead, buddy.
No, just thank you so much to AJ for sitting down and doing this. Thank you so much to Jennie and Steve for allowing me to use this place. Seth, huge. Mr. Trundy, couldn't thank y'all too enough. Thank y'all so much.
Sethy boy.
Thanks for coming, guys, and thanks for being cool with me running around freaking out for the first 12 minutes. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
AJ?
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. This looks awesome. So people should get more tattoos.
AJ's got his first tattoo, y'all.
Let's go. Before we go, I just wanted to say thank you for everybody showing up. When we're doing these types of things, we're constantly, I know the three of us are worried that people won't come, they won't have a good time. But you guys did show up. The good time I am unsure of, but that's up to you. Thank you to Steve and Jennie, as always, the Idiot Box. And by Idiot Box, I mean you guys, man. You guys, we talked a lot about art and creativity, and getting that stuff done is difficult. The only thing that makes it easier is when people support us the way that you guys do. I'm so grateful for you guys. And I wanted to say thank you to AJ. You're one of my favorite human beings, and I mean that. Boudreaux is pretty cool. And Seth, this week, I have not been feeling incredibly well, and Seth took a lot of pressure off me this week as far as getting all of this stuff going. So I wanted to make sure I said thank you to you. I appreciate you guys so much. Take pictures with AJ. We're going to go next door. I'm going to smoke a lot of weed. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Do not touch the tattoo, please.
Do not touch the tattoo, Boodro says. All right, I love you guys. Thank you.
The universe is not not trying to test you, upset you, forget you. It's just chaotic, exotic, it flaunts it, it haunts us, it tries not to taunt us. The universe is not fighting or spiting, it's simply abiding. It's something we got, we get hit, we get down, we get up, we get going, and we're gone, and we're gone.